All right. I think we can get started. Um, I think, yeah. So welcome everyone. My name is Ashish, and I'm from the product marketing team here at Grofin. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are diving into a challenge that nearly every modern business faces, right? That is the growing complexity of AR. And today we are at a turning point where AI has been spoken about and it's actually enabling AR teams to work with clarity amidst the chaos. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll have two of our Growth experts talk about how AI is actually transforming the order to cash process and what this paradigm shift means for your business and how you can start taking action today. Before we dive in, just a quick set of housekeeping rules so that you know what to expect. The session will last for 45 minutes, including 10 to 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So in case you have any questions, feel free to share these questions in the chat window that's found in the navigation bar at the bottom. Apart from this, a few more things to keep in mind. So all of you will be muted while the session is in progress. Please stay, please stay muted while the presentation is underway, and you can submit your questions at any time and we'll pick them up at the end of the session. And if you're wondering about the resources such as the presentation deck and the recording, that'll be shared via email in 1 to 3 days. So don't worry about taking notes and just focus on listening to what our speakers have to say. All right, so it's time to meet the speakers. Uh, One of our speakers is Clayton Wilson, who's the Director of Sales at Grofin. Clay has around 15 years of experience working with finance teams across industries, helping them to streamline their order to cash processes. He brings a very new and exciting perspective on what teams are struggling with in the real world and how AI can actually make all of your lives better and bring actual, tangible, measurable impact. Joining him is Bharat Sridhar, Grofin's Global Head of Solution Engineering. Bharat brings about a decade of consulting experience and he's worked with enterprises to strengthen their order to cash processes. He has partnered with different teams, he has partnered with different customers who have a very exhaustive set of ecosystems and ERPs such as NetSuite, Zora, SAP, and so on. So both of our experts today are people who have worked in the order to cash space extensively, and we are really excited to hear what insights they have to share. I'll hand it over to Bharat and Clay to take it forward.
All right, great. Well, thank you for that introduction, Ash. So I'll jump right in. I know we have limited time, and I'll start with this. Companies lose millions every year, not because of bad business, but because their cash is trapped in systems. So every delayed payment is not just a DSO number on a dashboard. It's real. It's delayed expansion, it's deferred hiring, it's postponed projects. The list goes on and on. So we recently analyzed over 3,000 public companies, and we found that inefficiencies in AR alone has tied up tens of millions of dollars in working capital. So that gives you a real sense of the magnitude of this opportunity. So companies, let me jump down here real quick. So what's actually creating this complexity? That's the question. And why is AR such a challenge compared to the rest of finance?
Well, I can take that. I think it's majorly because AR sits right at the intersection of what we call as the flexibility and also the chaos, right? So think about it. Unlike maybe an AP, right, which is more of a policy driven and also more internal, AR is customer facing, right? So that's like designed for flexibility. So you've got multiple revenue models like subscription based, usage based, milestone based, or even hybrid kind of subscription patterns, right? And each one would have different payment terms. So you could have a couple of customers on net 30, a couple of them on net 60, or it could also be milestone based payments, right? So what you are offering is convenience to customers, but obviously every choice adds a layer of complexity for your finance teams, right? And beyond this, you also know that there are a lot of systems like your ERPs for invoices, your CRM for any kind of relationships, your banks for payments, your customers, AP portals. Each one of them have their own workflows. So you could imagine entire data is like scattered. And that's why even like mature enterprises that I've seen, they still rely on spreadsheets to reconcile and forecast as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, Broth. That fragmentation leads to daily reality that AR teams live in, right? So we see different data, different systems, multiple stakeholders across sales, finance, customer service, each working from a different version of the truth. And it's not just that finance teams lack discipline, they're just forced to operate in systems that are reactive by design. So the result is slower cash conversion, rising DSO, very limited visibility. So every company sits somewhere on this curve. You have manual and reactive at the bottom to strategic and integrated at the top. Most companies are stuck somewhere between automated and siloed. And they've introduced some rule-based automation, but not intelligence.
Exactly, right? So that's exactly where the rules-based automation can only go to a certain extent, right? And I'll probably tell you to follow up on day 3, or maybe send a reminder on day 7, which is more of a rule-based. But what it actually doesn't do is it doesn't learn why a payer is delaying your payment. And with that intel, how can it adapt to collect it better, right? So that's exactly where we call the next evolution as the agentic AI, which is where the automation, it can act, it can learn, and also adapt intelligently, just maybe like your best collector in the team would actually do. All right. So on that note, maybe for the audience right there, Ash, do we have like a poll that we could publish just to understand across all the audience here, where does your business sits on the AR maturity curve that you're seeing on the screen? Yeah, maybe you could fill in your responses. Okay. The graph is inclining towards partially automation. Oh, a lot more manual now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, Ash, let us know when you're closing this out. But yeah, I think for now, I see a good split between manual and partially automated, right? Yeah, just to publish as well. This is exactly where we are seeing the audience as well sit through, which I feel then would perfectly resonate to what we are speaking as well, right? Because this is exactly where we are kind of trying to see how best the AI, agentic AI and the transformations in the digital world could actually solve the manual processes that you're doing there, right? Great. So now with this, what does that really mean, right? What we would like to think is this being a shift of system of record to system of action, right? So what we've generally seen traditional tools to do is more of storing information, and agentic systems act on top of it. So what does the agentic system add on top of this? It adds like 3 layers of intelligence that I've generally seen. One, we call it as machine learning, which is trained on your historical payment patterns, your payers' behaviors, and things like that, right? That's one. Second, on the generative AI or the Gen AI that is famously called as, what this does is it understands your context, it understands the tone in which you communicate, it understands when do you actually communicate with your customers, and how does that differ from customer to customer. And this is where Gen AI comes in really handy, right? So that's the second layer of intelligence. And third, this is what we call as the agentic action. So with your machine learning and Gen AI, the agentic action would add the automation on top of this. So this could be executing maybe multiple step tasks automatically, or also within your control where you get an approval where you have to go ahead and approve that through for executing that as well, right? So it's this difference between an automated reminder and an intelligent agent, which decides when, how, and what needs to be sent, matched, or even applied when it comes to your customer behaviors, right? So just to also double down on what we do at Growing here. So we also think about AI in AR as maybe like a team of agents who are working together, right? So first we call it as the autonomous agent, the one you're seeing there, which we also call as autopilot. So what this does is automates repetitive, high confidence actions, maybe something like your invoice delivery, AP portal invoice delivery, or automated follow-ups to your customers, or even with regard to the payment matching from a Cash App standpoint, right? This is one. Second, what this could also do is we call this as assistive agent, right? Ash, maybe you could go to the next screen there. Yeah, thanks for that. So this is what we call as the assistive agent or co-pilot. So what this would do here is any collector or the team that you're having, this would help them handle conversations from customers. It would automatically identify what sort of a intent the content of the email has. It identifies disputes, identifies commitments. And the best part is this also could automatically draft responses based on all the context that it has got, right? And the third piece here is what we call as the operator agent. And this you could imagine like maybe a AR command center, right? So this helps finance leaders, like all of you here, track DSOs. You could analyze where there is a bottleneck, how you could forecast cash flows in real time, what is accurate cash flow 3 months, 6 months down the line. All that to do with an AR visibility standpoint. That's exactly where this comes in handy.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk through how this actually works in a live AR cycle from invoice to cash.
Yeah. So let's probably start it from an invoicing standpoint, because that's where the system knows which invoices are due, and that flows into the Growfin system, which is where it automatically segments your customers based on multiple parameters. This could be risk-based, this could be behavior-based, this could also be value-based, right? So it determines whom to follow up with, when it has to follow up, in what tone it has to follow up. There's nothing like rule templates or something that you set as a something set on stone. This learns what works, right? And same way when the response is common, maybe like a customer responding back to you saying they've made a promise to pay, or raising a dispute on a particular invoice, or asking you for a copy of invoice copy, the co-pilot, what it could do is it could also read the email. It could classify what intent your customer is like meaning in that particular email, and also update the system automatically, right? And once you close the loop here, you collect the money and the payment comes in. What the autopilot agent could also do is it could read the remittance emails from your customers, be it from your customer emails or portals or even banks. All of them read through, it matches with the corresponding invoice, and then it posts back directly into your ERP. And all of these with audit trails for you to like track through what is happening, who has posted this, when was it posted, and complete stuff there, right? And on top of that, the operator agent that you see on the table there, this is what keeps the leadership team constantly updated with real-time forecasts, like explaining them why the DSO has changed, why was it like high last month, and how did that decrease this month, which invoices cost this, what should the team do next, right? All of these comes under the part of operator agent platform.
Yeah, and that's the clarity that Growfin delivers. So we move you beyond simply doing things faster to proactively understanding why they work and what to do next. So you should see a poll on your screen in a moment, and if you'd take 30 seconds to respond. Yeah, it seems to be kind of all over the place here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. AI-driven segmentation and customer health scoring came out the highest. But there's a little bit everywhere, and it all goes hand in hand. So if we could move to the next slide, I think there's really 4 key areas that GrowFin looks at to make an immediate impact, and it's excess DSO, bad debt, efficiency gains, and auto match rates. And the results are consistent across industries. So our average return on investment is a 30% reduction in DSO, 20% reduction in bad debt write-offs, 60 to 80% efficiency gains in manual processes, and this piece is huge, and 80% plus auto match rates on the cash application side. So, this is possible when every customer reaction is captured as data and every data point immediately triggers an action. I think ultimately the key takeaway is, agentic AI is about speed and certainty. GrowFin is built on agentic AI. That means it can be deployed very quickly, usually 8 to 10 weeks on average. And that rapid timeline gets you to a future state very quickly. It transforms reactive manual processes into a proactive environment where your team can leverage predictive analytics, they can gain real-time visibility, and you can strategically optimize your cash flow. So if you're ready to see how GrowFin can transform your back office, I highly recommend setting up a personalized demo of the platform. And, you can dive deeper and really see this in action. With that being said, Bharath, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
Yeah, maybe why not just give a glimpse of the product as well? Because, yeah, I think we still have time. We could maybe just do a quick overview of the sneak peek of the product. And yeah, I mean, anytime, just in case you want to delve deeper, we could have like a personalized demo session as well. So on that note, let me just get onto the product here. So first and foremost, the product sits on your ERPs, right? So from the audience there, you might be on maybe NetSuites or SAPs or Oracle or Dynamics, whatever it is, right? So the base data for GrowFin is going to be your ERP, from where we fetch in your AR data, right? To start off with, you have the leadership dashboard where you get to know at a high level, what is your receivable scenario looking like, how much is in balance, what is your current DSO looking like, your aging buckets classification, your disputes, customer classification, like how many customers you've got on credit hold, how many customers are good payers, bad payers, what is the receivable stuff at each of these customer segments. Plus, you also get insights as to how many customer conversations have happened, right? Because that's where we've generally seen challenges from customers that, hey, you know what, we've been like reaching out to the customer, but the customer is saying they've not even received the email or they've not read the email, right? So that's exactly where this truly solves, because you can keep track of how many emails you've sent through, how many emails have been like read by your customers, how many emails have been in fact responded back, and each of these associated with a dollar value as well, right? Where this goes further into your leadership metrics is the analysis section, where we call this as cash flow predictions. So this is an agentic AI-based prediction where it takes into account your customers' previous payment patterns in the past, tries to understand if your customer is paying you on time, are they delaying the payment, or they're like doing advance payments. And with that, gives you a visibility into month-wise, how is your cash flow going to look like, right? So this could also tell you something called as the predicted cash flow versus the best possible cash flow, where you could also compare what is your actual outstanding for that particular month versus what was predicted versus what you actually collected for that month as well, right? And same for your DSOs, ADPs, track your sales versus collected, month-wise sales, month-wise collected. And you could also delve into your KPI dashboards for your team. So for the audience there, if you have like a larger team that you're currently managing for collections, and you want to delve deeper into their KPIs, keep some collection periods, track through what is the target, what is their achievement, what are all the different actions they've been doing, right? You could track all of them right there. And it's a similar experience for your collectors as well. So like how you have a company dashboard for the leadership team, there is also a collector's dashboard for your collectors, for them to log in, and they directly land here where they can track through what is their target, how much they've collected, how much they've not collected yet, what are all those recent correspondences they've got from customers or from internal teams, like any escalations, disputes. They could track everything in one single place, plus also take their list of customers or invoices that they'll have to start their work for, right? So it tells them what are all those critical invoices which are moving from one aging bucket to the next aging bucket in this particular week, or call stats, how many customers they've reached out, not reached out, complete information. So you could imagine like your day or your collector's day typically starts from the dashboard, right? And then you get into your inbox where you can like have your own conversations in terms of customer responses, or you originating any new responses from the platform as well. You could do that. What this would also do is you could set up two inbox. In fact, you could have your personal inbox, you could have your AR inbox, both combined, you can have in one single place. There's again AI features here as well, where you could have emails being summarized, emails being auto-responded. So you could have the AI smart response suggest what the context is, what you'll have to respond. And it can also take into account the language, the verbiage that you've been like using day in, day out, right? And on top of that, there's a whole lot of automations that you've got for your AR data. So you could like go ahead, set up different campaigns, different collection strategies, which could automatically segment customers based on AI-based risk scores. So it could say, okay, these are my high-risk customers. You've got 1,400 customers. There's a certain way in which you reach out to your high-risk customers, whereas maybe your good-paying customers, you have a certain way in which you reach out. All these to optimize faster collections and also make sure your relationship with customers are always at a high, right? And same way for different dynamic segmentations for your collection owners, like which accounts has to go to which collection owner, what are their strengths, how you have to assign them. All these can be automated, right? And when you do all of these and maybe get your payments, that's where the Agentic AI on Cash App also comes in, right? So what this does is this would integrate with your bank account. So anything to do with ACH, wires, EFTs, or lockbox, we directly pull in from the bank, show it right on the screen. So you don't have to, first of all, download statements, log into portals, multiple steps there. You get that by the login itself here. So you know there are like 26 payments you've got for today. These are all the 26 payments that you've got, including ACH, lockbox, multiple other payments as well. What the AI would start doing is bucketing them down into something called as a fully matched, partial match, or no match, where it tries to understand the customer and invoice who have done the payment to you, right? And how does that happen? Multiple AI parameters, in fact. So this learns based on how your customers generally share your remittances, generally share your bank references. If there is a remittance email that is also being ingested, like for example, this is one of the payment you've got from customers, let's assume there's $136,000. Even before your team has logged into the platform, they know it's already auto matched with 4 invoices. And how did that happen? There was also an underneath remittance, which was automatically identified by Grofin, which tagged to this payment and said, hey, you know what? This is the remittance email. This is the payment on the bank account. Just link both and go ahead and match that through, right? And all of these are done in the backend. So your team need not do anything other than just validating this and posting to your respective ERPs.
So Bharath, very quickly, we did receive a question on the Cash App side while you have this up. One question is, operationally, would this in live time, based upon the funds received into the bank or upon a daily statement from a prior day settlement?
Oh, great. Thanks for pointing that, Clay. So Namrata, this is like live, right? So we do both current day as well as prior day sync. So whatever the customers prefer, we go ahead and do that. And if it's the current day sync, you could have multiple batches within the same day as well, like one at morning 7, one in the noon, one in the evening. So you can have multiple batches of the current day payments as well.
Great. One more, Bharath. To track the collector action, would we need additional API connections to our internal phone systems?
Yeah, I mean, not additional API connections. If you're already on some VoIP solution or some cloud telephony solutions, that would definitely have those APIs where we can integrate that into the call log and make your collection team call from the platform as well.
Yeah, I see a third question here. I may take this one. We operate in multiple regions. We have multiple business units. Is this something that could be implemented within one instance of the GrowFin tool? We've seen it multiple ways. So absolutely, yes, it can be. We've seen, very complex structures where companies have multiple ERPs across multiple regions, and they want to pull that into a one-stop shop. Yes, we can do that. We also have complexities where companies want to operate their different business units under separate ERPs, and we can set that up as well. So we're flexible there. And we've seen just about every scenario you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, that was more of a sneak peek of the product, but yeah, open to any kind of questions or anything from the product or even from the session that we had prior to this. More than happy to take them now.
Looks like Kelly asked, does your product integrate with Five9?
Yeah, so what we typically do is we support two ways in which we integrate, right? One could be the API, or it could also be the file-based. And why we are pretty agnostic is a file is something that any ERP would throw out, right? So it's basically your list of invoices, list of customers. That's all we would need, right? So anything to do with, I mean, like Five9, we can have like a file-based integration where you just have to like share that file to us. We can integrate and put that through you.
Yep. Do we have any more questions? I'm just looking through, making sure I didn't miss any. Okay, so where does the human oversight come in to ensure accuracy? That's a good question. You want that, Bharat?
Yeah. So I think that's where even in our presentation we did mention about how much the agentic AI or the Gen AI would do and where the human would also get involved, right? Because this is not just with our product in general. Though AI is the next big buzzword that we are hearing through, we would definitely see some kind of human oversight at places wherever this would be critical, right? In our scenarios, right? I can give you an example, like maybe the email response that I had shown earlier, right? So we've seen customers take two calls here. One, AI understanding the way in which you send out responses, the way in which you put your verbiage, and then suggest and also automatically respond to your customer as well, or have one level of maybe an approval where it just pops up. It does all the heavy lifting and it just pops up to your collection owner. So when they come to that screen, they know there's a response drafted, but they just have to like want to go through and then probably insert that through, right? That's another option. So like this, in each of the AI modules, we've kept that pretty flexible because we didn't want to take that call as a product. We just want to give that flexibility for the customers to also choose this. If a customer says, hey, you know what, just automatically put that response there, yes, that could be done. Or if you need to have like a human oversight on top of that and get that through, we could get that done. And a lot of other examples as well, like even in Cash App and the other AI pieces, we have seen this happen.
Yeah, and I would just add that when we work with you initially implementing this and building segments, we put guardrails around the rules that you want to put into place for each segment. So you may have high risk customers and you want this workflow to apply to them. You may have high value customers and you want a different workflow. So there's guardrails around how the AI works, and really the humans are managing the strategies that the AI is putting together. It looks like we have another question. Is there a space where credit card payments are separated out from other payment forms?
Oh yeah, I think like I mentioned within the Cash App here, this is majorly to solve the challenge of you not able to, first of all, identify which customer, which invoice the payment is for, right? On that note, for a credit card, it would typically be a case where we've seen customers sharing a link, maybe for a specific invoice or a group of invoices, where the customers go ahead, pay that through credit card, and that directly updates your respective book of records, right? Which might not be AI driven, but it's more of a logic driven itself. So you automatically get that reconciled based on whichever invoice or the customer they're paying for. But on that note, what use case we have seen in credit card is, let's say if you're leveraging some credit card processors, right? And the credit card processing company shares you like a daily dump of data, which says, these are maybe the 100 payments you've got for the day, and these are the customers you've got for that day. Plus, you also get a bank deposit for that consolidated amount, let's say for $15,000, right? That's where we've seen customers mentioning the challenge of, hey, you know what? There's a bank deposit for $15,000. There's this file that my credit card processing company has shared across. Can you help reconcile both of them and automatically post to ERP, right? So that's where we segregate within the same payments page one more filter called credit card. So we show the credit card payments where they can go ahead, group this through and post it off.
Yeah. Looks like we have another one from Roy. Do you have OCR for incoming emails to direct them to the respective collection manager?
Yes, in fact, this is not just OCR. There are, in fact, logic-based mapping as well. Imagine a scenario of AR inbox, right? Where it's like a common inbox which says AR at the rate, maybe Microsoft.com, and all the customers' emails are coming to this inbox. So first level, what it does is it tries to identify from which from address the mail is coming from, right? So it checks, let's say if this comes from a person called Clay or it comes from a person called Bharat, then it picks that email address, checks the database to understand if that is part of your customer record. This is like the first level match it does. If it is available, it automatically puts under the collection owner's queue. If it is not, then it goes under the AI side of things, where it tries to understand, if not for the from address, what else is there as part of the subject, as part of the email body. If it could pick some queue with regard to your customer name or some kind of a reference, then it picks into that respective collection agent's queue. And if not, it would still show as unassigned queue so that the managers can go ahead and take just the exception list and map that to the respective collection orders.
Great. It looks like Roy asked an additional follow-up question. Are there customizable templates for reminder notices to customers for, say, 90, 60, 30 days?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the dunning campaigns that you have in the product is completely, in fact, not customizable. It's configurable by yourself, right? So it's pretty intuitive. So you could go ahead, add your own placeholders, add your own templates. So you can pretty much do that from the UI itself.
It looks like we got another question here. How does your AI engine understand our business use cases such that it doesn't make assumptions by itself?
Oh yeah, like I mentioned earlier, right? So this is where the AI would not just make assumptions by itself. Let's take maybe a Cash App example. Unless it's 100% sure, it doesn't put a payment into a fully matched, right? So even if it's 0.1% that it's not sure about the customer or invoice, it goes under the partial match, which is more of an exception list where the human intervention is required, right? So that's where we've trained our models and also kept this leverage for the customers to also choose whether it has to be automatically done or there needs to be one level of approval, which can be like fine-tuned based on customer to customer.
Right.
Great questions, by the way.
Did I miss a question? Do we have any further questions here? I think I touched on them. Well, if there's no further questions, we will be sending across the slides we reviewed along with the recording of this call. And again, we'd love to connect with you, understand, your workflows a little bit better, and maybe showcase how the system can help you achieve what you're trying to achieve within the back office AR space. Oh, looks like we got another one. Okay. Yep, we got a link to book a. All right. Well, we want to thank you all.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate you guys' time today. Month in, gotta run. I love it. Okay.